Hey guys, how's it going? On top of like making YouTube videos and writing and reading and a million other things and a full-time job and all that sort of stuff, I also like to do photography, and in my time, my short time on this earth, I have photographed a couple of weddings, which are hands down the most terrifying experience you will ever have in your life as a photographer. So I thought I will give you a few top tips. I think there's like 5, 6 or 7, I've never been really good at counting, about how to not how to photograph a wedding, but just tips to help you out on the day. That made no sense, but we're going to roll with it anyway, because, you know, YOLO. I don't think anyone says that anymore, but again, we're going to bring it back. Boom. Someone just take the camera away. Tip number 1, which is the new sound effect apparently. I've had too much coffee. Tip number 1, be prepared. Be prepared. Do your research. Look into things. Make sure you've got some clear ideas in your head and you sort of know what sort of style photograph you like, and more importantly, the sort of style photograph the couple like. On top of that, there are so many elements to wedding photography which I never knew before actually photographing a wedding, such as like all the different people you can have in shots with one another. You were going to want just the couple on their own, and then you're going to want the couple with one of the couple's like family, and then with the other side's family, and then with any bridesmaids, and then with any groomsmen. Is that what they're called? Best men? I don't know. I'm not a pro at this. I'm never getting married probably, so you know, part of the lonely life. And then obviously any like flower girls and page boys, and it all depends, and there's like a whole mix, and it gets really stressful, but there are like loads of lists online, so I advise like looking over that and also speaking to the couple beforehand to see what sort of shots they wanted, because the last thing you want is to say have like, I don't know, a bride there who hates one of her bridesmaids because, you know, it's her long lost cousin from Utah who she had a massive argument with but had to invite anyway and had to make a bridesmaid. She's not going to want a photo with her. So, you know, that was like the most surreal story I could have picked out of the sky. But chances are your couple ain't going to want photos with everyone, or they're going to want variations of photos just to have like some with their friends in and some with those family members who they don't particularly get on with. So be prepared for that, and also have that discussion with them. On top of being prepared, I advise to take a bag. You'll have like probably your camera bag anyway and your different lenses, but also in this bag take things like snacks, because you're going to get hella hungry, especially if you're doing like a full day shoot, because I've done like a wedding prep followed by like the actual ceremony, followed by the reception, and like between the venues I was just like scoffing my face with like 1,000,001 cereal bars in a desperate attempt to not like pass out. Safety pins are always really good, along with hair clips, because you never know how you're gonna, you know, if the bride is having a meltdown because she needs a safety pin, you can save the day and it'll be brilliant. And also like little sewing kits and things like that are things that people have suggested to me, which I always think is really good, because it's not something you really, I don't know what this bit of hair's doing, it's not something you ever really think of, so I would strongly advise being prepared in that sense. Also looking online, there's like loads of like little tips and tricks that people put out, and it's really great and really helpful, and usually is those little things that you won't think of. Numero 2. We're gonna roll with this now. Meet your clients. I had the first wedding the first or second wedding I did everything over Messenger, and I didn't actually meet them face to face, and that was a big mistake. If you meet someone face to face, you get more of a feel of like the sort of people they are, what sort of things they like. You can have a proper sit down discussion, and then you can take away those sort of what was discussed and those thoughts and things like that, and kind of tailor your research to them and like sort of more gather your ideas. Because I've had one couple who really, they didn't not give a shit, but they're a lot more sort of fun, and they were like, yeah, you do whatever, we don't really care, we just want some happy photos, you know, everyone laughing, having fun, getting drunk, you know. That was a really fun wedding to shoot. And then had another couple who were like, no, we want the traditional serious photos. So it really helps you sort of gauge what sort of thing they like and elements like that. On top of that, you just seem a little bit more friendly, because it's always really important that you come across as friendly and just nice. Just be nice. Oh my god, just be nice. Because at the end of the day, if they're miserable, you're going to get some shitty photos, and everyone's going to be in a foul mood, and that's their big day. So you've got to, even when you're like me and you know you don't have a heart, you still need to be nice and kind and be like, oh, congratulations, yeah, it's your big day, and then go home and eat a tub of ice cream because you're going to die alone. So make sure you're nice, and do meet them before, and it will just help you get prepared. Also, linking on to the first point, if there are people they don't want their photo with, you can sort of forward plan for that and work something out, because it'll be really bad if you go, okay, everyone in for a group photo except for you, Aunt Julie, get the fuck out, they don't like you. You can arrange how things are going to work and sort things like that out between you, and it'll just make things a bit easier and make you feel a lot better. You sort of go in there feeling like you know what you're doing, more so than what you would if you just chatted through Messenger. So yeah, make sure you meet them in person. Numero 3, see, you're kind of liking it now. Numero 3 is to never do it for free. That sounded strange. Never, ever, 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 I can't stress this enough, never photograph a wedding for free. Even if you're just starting out, because I made this mistake. It was my first ever wedding and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this for free. No, don't do it, because it's really fucking dumb. I had a full day of, yeah, it was a full day of photographing this wedding, because that was the one that included like the bride's prep and then going on to the actual ceremony and then like the after party and stuff like that. And it was really exhausting, and that was just one day to take all the photos. And then after that, obviously you need to edit photos, and I think it took me about 3 days to edit the photos, on minimal sleep and everything, and they were all shot in RAW, so then they all had to sort themselves out, and it was really stressful, really tiring, and I did it for free, and that is one thing I'm so pissed off with myself for, because at the end of the day, I think when you take on the challenge to photograph a wedding, you've got some self-confidence, and you must know that you're good at photography, otherwise you wouldn't take on such a massive challenge. So don't undersell yourself, even if you do it at a discounted rate, because I know there's the whole thing where it's like, oh, you're getting experience. Experience ain't going to pay for food or travel costs or time or energy or the coffee which you had to continuously drink to get those photos sorted. So I understand that some people do just want it for experience, but if so, I'd say go with like a professional photographer and get work experience with them whilst they're photographing weddings, because I know a lot of photographers do that. But don't say you'll do a whole wedding on your own for free, because you will really regret it. You're underselling yourself, and it's just a poopy idea, and I really wish someone had said that to me or punched me in the face when I agreed to do that, because it was really fucking dumb. Number 4, I love that so much. Before the wedding, before you just go into the ceremony and start taking photos, ask what you can and can't take photos of. This seems like a weird one, it's not one that I ever thought of, but the first time I photographed the wedding, it was in a registry office, and I got called out in front of everyone for taking photos at a point where I wasn't meant to take photos. I still don't know what point it is. I don't think it's sort of like a common thing. I think it was just for that venue specifically, because then I went to another wedding and it was in like a big church place, and I spoke to, this is when I sound really bad because I'm not like a pro and I'm not religious. It's like a priest man? I don't know, I'm so sorry if that's offensive, but the guy leading the wedding, I spoke to him, and he was like, yeah, we don't want photos taken of the whole ceremony. So that would, I think it's better to speak to them and sort of get that out of the way first, because the last thing you want is to be called out in front of everyone, because I'm still not over the trauma from the first wedding when that happened. It was mortifying. Also, if you don't feel confident, when you meet with your client in person, if you're following these tips, ask them to ask sort of whoever's doing the wedding as such, and that might even be better, because then they've got an understanding too. It will sort of lower your client's expectations, because I then got questions as to why I didn't take any photos of the ceremony, and I was like, because I wasn't allowed, because that guy said that I wasn't allowed to, which they were then cool with, but it just sort of then cuts out that whole, oh shit, was I meant to get photos of that, like they were expecting. It just makes things easier. Just get them to ask, basically, or ask yourself on the day. But do find it out, because yeah, you don't want to get called out in front of everyone. Even just the thought of it's making me cringe so much that I can hardly get this point out. It was horrible. It was like the worst thing. Number 5, bored of that now. Dress fancy and professional. Yeah. Don't turn up in a pair of jeans, basically. Top tip. Yeah, don't think anyone's ever done that, but who knows. I know I had a lot of stress about picking what I was going to wear, and I ended up wearing... I always wear like the same dress to every wedding I now photograph. But yeah, just dress for the occasion. You don't have to look too fancy, just look smart because it's someone's wedding that you're just invading with a camera. So there you go. No pressure. You haven't done that too much, but make sure you're dressed appropriately because you don't want to offend people. Number 6. I can't count anymore. Number 6. There we go. Shoot in manual and in RAW. If you don't know what that is, don't photograph a wedding. Go learn what that is. I was originally going to explain like all these different elements, but I will be here for hours and hours on end, which no one wants. But definitely learn how to use your camera and how to shoot in manual, especially when you're like changing up in different settings. It's really helpful. And like I've been to a church before which was really sort of dimly lit, kind of lit a bit like this shot. It was very orange but a lot darker, very strange, and it is important that you know your camera settings to get decent photos. Also, shooting in RAW I find really helpful. It does mean that the image sizes are a lot bigger, but when you then chuck it into Photoshop or whatever photo editing like tool you use, there is so much more sort of data and stuff to work with. There's a lot of advice online about how to shoot manual depending on your camera, and sort of the benefits of it, things like that. So I'd say look online. Pinterest does a load of like really easy to follow infographics as well, which I know I've shared with people who want to get into photography and they find it helpful, or they lie to me and tell me it's helpful. Don't know which one yet, but look into that, and I definitely advise doing that. Number 7. This is the last one, so you don't have to listen to me do that anymore. Number 7 is to just stay calm. The amount of times I have thrown up or had a panic attack or cried before a wedding is ridiculous. There is a lot of pressure, but hopefully the other tips will then help you out a bit and just take some of that pressure off, because you feel a lot more prepared, like you know what you're doing. I remember for my first wedding, at one point my hands were shaking even. My hands were shaking so much I couldn't actually take a decent photo at one point, which is always fun. They were really blurry. I then had to sort of like walk away and just calm myself down. But yeah, the thought of it is a lot more daunting and terrifying than actually taking the photos, because chances are you can take a photo if you're going to photograph a wedding. You must have some self-confidence, as I said earlier. So don't let your nerves get to you, just be prepared, do a lot of research, and I'm sure you'll be fine. My camera's now dying because I wasn't prepared for this, but I hope that helps, and I hope that if you do photograph a wedding, you now feel prepared and happy and calm about the situation. And yeah, again, there's a lot more tips online elsewhere. These are just some which I didn't see online before photographing my first wedding or first couple of weddings, so I thought I'd share in case they're at all helpful. Hopefully they are, probably not with me, but anyway, good luck basically. If you're photographing a wedding, good luck. May the odds be ever in your favour, which is not promising at all. You'll do fine. You'll be fine. There you go. My parting words, you'll be fine. If you're not photographing a wedding, I don't see the point of you just watching this video, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. And I shall see you next time. Goodbye.